Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Raipur virtual meetup. Yeah, my name is Praveen Reddy. I am senior MuleSoft developer, having 6+ years of experience in MuleSoft, and I have certified MuleSoft developer. And today, the topic we are presenting today is power of object store in MuleSoft, and our speaker is Sonal. So coming to yeah, that's it from my side. Yeah, over to you, Sonal. Yes, Sonal, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's MuleSoft Meetup, and thanks for joining and taking to be a time of this joining this session and taking to be a part of this session. And the goal of this session is to bring MuleSoft community together and share knowledge and learn from each other's experiences, and also discuss the real world scenarios of integration. So I'm Sonal, and I'm working as a senior software engineer in Digital Bus with around 6+ years of experience in API development and integration using Anypoint Platform. Uh, and the topic of the today's session is the object store in Mule core, where we will discuss the concept, practical use cases, and also go through a quick demo with best practices. So this is very important concept in real world integration. I encourage everyone to stay interactive during the session and feel free to ask questions in the chat or at the end of the session. We have a dedicated question answer session at the end. So let's start the today's topic. Let me share my PPT.
And Praveen, better you can start recording also. So in future, like people can follow that recording.
Yeah, recording started.
Is my screen is visible?
Yeah, it's
Yes, it's good.
Yes. So let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. Uh, we will cover the topic object store. In object store, we will see what object store is, its structure and types, core operations, and real world use cases, and finally a demo with best practices. So uh, before Before we start the object store, let me briefly introduce with MuleSoft. MuleSoft is an integration platform that allow various heterogeneous systems to communicate with each others, or we can say it allows the different applications or databases and APIs to communicate with each other. It also allows to build the reusable and scalable integrations using the on-premise and cloud systems. And one of the key component of MuleSoft is object store. So object store is basically a key value storage mechanism. It allows us to temporarily store and retrieve data during runtime. For example, our API needs to remember something temporarily, but all we know, like APIs are stateless, right? So where do we store that data? uh, that exactly that's exactly where object stores comes into the picture. Or we can say we can think it as a object store as a lightweight database inside Mule applications that helps maintain state across flows. And how object store works? It works using a simple concept, key and value. For example, we store a transaction ID as a key, and for value we will take like API response, OTP, or token. So later we can retrieve the data uh, that values using the same key anywhere in the flow. So here is the example. Key is the transaction ID and value will be the OTP token. So we will retrieve this value using the same key. Why object store is important? So object store is important because it reduces dependency on external systems and improves the performance. In real projects, we don't want to call the backend systems again and again. It increases the load and slows down the performance. And another important of the object store is that it avoids the duplicate processing. For example, systems like payment systems. These type of systems duplicate this in this type of systems duplicate requests are very risky. So in by using the object store, we can track that requests using the object store and avoid reprocessing. If same request comes again, we skip processing and return previous result. Um, so basically, object store help us to build the stateful behavior in stateless APIs. Why object store matters in integration? So if we think in real world scenarios like retry logic, request tracking, duplicate detection, token storage, all these problems comes in almost every integration. So object store efficiently solve all these problems. There are some basic operations of object store. Store to save the data, retrieve to fetch data, remove to delete the data, and contains to check existence, and retrieve all keys to bulk operation. So there are two types of object store: in-memory object store and persistent persistent object store. Uh, in memory, which is very fast, but data is lost on restart. And the persistent object store, which survives restart and is used for critical data. So here, one important thing to understand is if we store data in memory, it is fast, but it will gone after restart. And if we store the data persistently, it stays even restart. So the best we should use the persistent object store. And now let's discuss some integration patterns. First is caching. So anyone tell me what is caching?
Storing the repeatedly accessed data, repeatedly called data, storing temporarily.
Yes. Caching is like storing frequently used data temporarily. So we don't have to fetch it again and again. Uh, So here is the example of caching pattern. When request comes, we first check in object store. If data is exist, we return it directly. So this if data is exist, it is called the cache hit. And if data is not exist, this is called the cache miss. Then what we will do, we will call the backend system and then store the response and return it. This improves the performance and reduces backend load. So benefit is it is a faster response and also reduce the backend load. Second one is idempotency. So idempotency, this is very important for APIs like payments. We don't want to same request to be processed twice. So we store the request ID and check before processing. This pattern prevent the duplicate processing. We check if a transaction ID already exists. If yes, we reject the request. If not, we process and store it. This ensures reliability in APIs like payment. Uh, Next is rate limiting support. Uh, So in rate limiting support, object store can help track request counts. We can also use object store to track how many requests a user is making. Based on that, you can allow or block the request. Object store we store request count per user and update it on each request. And based on limit, we allow or block the request. So it concludes it helps enforce API limits. And this is the real world use case like OTP validation. So OTP validation, in this use case, when user logs in, we generate an OTP and store it in object store with the TTL. So here, TTL is time to leave. It means how long our data should be stay in object store uh, before it automatically expires. When we set the TTL like 1 minute or 60 seconds or 30 seconds. So after this duration, the OTP or the stored value will automatically expire. So in this use case, when user logs in, we generate an OTP and store it and object store. When user submit OTP, we validate and expire. Expire it. So this is the very common real world scenario. Now, object store v1 and object store v2. So, object store v2 is the file-based storage and has limited scalability, and the object store v2 is cloud-based and highly scalable and also recommended for the modern application. In modern applications, we mostly use the object store v2 because it is a cloud-based and scalable. And some best practices for the object store. Um, it includes the include like using the meaningful keys. We should use the meaningful keys when stores the keys, and setting TTL proper TTL values. Avoid the large payloads and monitoring uses, and using object store v2 in production. When we deploy our application, there will be one option is available for object store v2. Select that option, and for and next one is the some key takeaways like so overall object stores helps in improving performance, handling duplicates, and managing temporary data. Object stores helps enable states, improve performance, prevent duplicate processing, and is widely used in real world integrations. So here we will see one demo. In the demo, I will show a simple flow where we check the object store, how to configure the object store, and where in the flow we see like if data exists, we treat it as a duplicate, and if not, we store and process the request. So for the demo, I use the Anypoint Studio, Mule4, and object store connector. So first I create one demo project, configure the listener first. Here I need the part like demo. Now, for the best practice, take the object store. So here key will be the we will take the key from the query params from the postman request. Wrap this retry in the try for the best practice. Here we define one key. Attributes dot query params dot user ID, and we will set one default user 123. This is the default value, and also configure the object store. So here is I select the persistent object store, and in the TTL I set the 1 minute. After 1 minute, our user ID will be expired. And here I set the 0. Now we can say 1 minute expiration interval. After that, I set one payload. Here, if the user is the keys already exist, then it will show the message like duplicate request and already processed. Here we set the payload like duplicate request already processed. And for first time, the key is not stored in the object store, so it will give the error. So for handle this error, I will set here on error continue component. For object store error, there we will find key not found error. Key not found. And here I set the logger. Like new user for new user. So here we set the key like a user ID. So here I retry with the same. Sorry, I forgot to set the. We will take one variable, and inside that variable we will take user ID. User ID will take from the attributes dot query params dot here. Here I retrieve the key on pairs dot user ID. Here in store I retrieve with the same key pairs dot user ID. Here I set the value payload, the object store, configure the object store. And now here set payload. And here we write like new request, new request processed successfully. Deploy the so here I will take one I have to take one variable like user ID. User ID I pass from the query parameters from the postman, and I set the default user ID user 123, and here I retrieve the key like where's dot user ID, and if key is already stored in the object store, then it is giving the error like duplicate request already processed. And if key is not stored, then it will create a new user, and message will be new request processed successfully. We'll deploy the application. The application is deployed. Now come to the postman. Our request is the HTTP locust, and I give the path in listener like demo, and we will pass the user ID um, like from the query params. So in query params, I pass 101 and send the request. Set variable. So in variable, we can see the user ID 101. So this 101 is not stored, so it will give the error. So for handle this error, I, I on error continue is here. It retrieves the key and send the message. We can see the message new request processed successfully. And now, so this 101 key is stored in the object store. If I again send the request with the 101, it will give me the message like user is already the duplicate request already processed. And after I set here the TTL 1 minute. So after 1 minute, if I again try with this user ID, so this will expire. in object store, we can check. Entry TTL is 1 minute. So after 1 minute, this will automatically expire. So we will check after 1 minute. Or once for the 102, this also not stored in the object store, so it will create one user new request processed successfully. Now after 1 minute, it will user ID 102 is already also expired. So check for 101. This is expire, and now it will create the one again 101. So this is the small demo of the object store. Once we deployed our application on the Anypoint Studio, so there will be one option is available for selecting the object store v2. So I deployed my application on the sandbox, set the property here, like dot, type. So in runtime, there is there is the option for the object store v2. So select this for object store v2 and deploy the application. So our application will be deployed on the object store v2. So thank you everyone for your time, and I hope this session helped you to understand object store better. And now I am happy to take any questions.
Yeah, one thing I want to add from my side. Just
Yes.
allow me 1 minute. I'm getting some echo. Okay. Yeah. So on object store, like, sorry, I'm getting some echo. Let me fix this first. Yeah. So one thing I want to supplement from my side. No, still I'm getting. So can you go on mute?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me check. Yeah, it's better now. Okay, maybe because some reason I'm getting echo when you are unmuted. So on object store, like you people have seen here, the one use case, and you people heard about there are two kind of object store. Okay, so if you are using the clustered environment, and like clustered environment, I mean to say if you have multiple instance, then you need to be careful on selecting the type of object store. In that case, you people should select object store v2. Okay, otherwise those two instances will deal with separate set of data, and it will create some kind of data inconsistency in your application and transaction. So if you have multiple instances of same application, then you must need to select object store v2. Okay, and internally, like MuleSoft will manage like storage and all. Since in object store v2, things will be stored outside of the worker, and all the instance will interact with same, like same set of data. Okay, and I can see some other question in chat. Maybe Sonal, Praveen, if you want to address them. So one is Sanat. Oh, sorry, Sanat. Is this memory one if V2 can we see in cloud what key value pair is stored? Okay, if you are using object store V2, then you want to see the key value pair. Okay, ideally, like when you
Yeah,
will
we
deploy.
have yeah, I have deployed one application in Cloud Hub. Let me show him how it will can see the object store
Yes.
V2 in the Cloud Hub. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you will go to Anypoint platform inside the Mule runtime, like I cannot recall the exact place, but yeah, you can see there
We
like
can see the
object
option
store
of
data. Correct. This one.
yeah, we can see the option of object store here, and we can see the object store. So currently there is no key. Let me run this application. So once refresh this one,
Okay. And other question is
you are
there
able to see the key.
related to difference between real world integration and virtual transcendental world integration. So, Pallavi, is there anything? Sorry, Sonal, is there anything?
Like a
You
real
have?
world integration, virtual. Let me check in my PPT, then I will explain.
Okay, generally, like when we are talking about this real world things, then whatever data we have, that should be persistent. Okay, like and then we are creating some kind of reliable integration. Like if something will go wrong, then how we will persist the data. So in object store, we have one checkbox. With the help of that, we can persist the data, and even if there will be restart in our Mule application, still that data will be there. Okay, and if you are talking about some kind of like virtual constant, like transcendental word integration, then we are talking about some temporary data. Okay, like in object store we have capability like once like application will be restarted, all the data will be erased. You don't need to do any kind of external effort there. Okay, so generally, like if we are using this kind of terminology in integration, then that means we are talking about the persistent data and like non-persistent data. So those kind of things will be related to object store. In term of object store has both the capability, it can persist the data or it can erase the data once application will be restarted.
Yes, in real world integrations means I gave the example of like a payment system. Like in payment system, it prevents the duplicate processing. Where we check if a transaction already ID is already existed, then we reject the request, and if there is no transaction ID of this, so we process and store it. So this type of real world integration.
Nidhi, you have
Yeah,
raised
yes,
your hand. Do you have any question?
Hi Ravi. Yeah. So, hi Sonal. So Sonal, I wanted to ask that you were showing the configuration of object store, right? So in that
Yes,
configuration, we have one value, like one field as TTL, and the other one was expiration interval.
yes,
Um,
yes.
so just wanted to check, like, if I understand that TTL is the time for which that particular
Yes.
key value pair will live, right? But then what is expiration interval? Like if we are setting the TTL as 1 minute, then what is the relevance of expiration interval?
Okay, let me answer
The
this question.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
sure.
So when we configure the object store property, we have two things. One is, sorry, yeah, we have two things. One is TTL and another one is expiration interval. Okay. TTL means like when you will create any key value pair, for how much duration that key value pair will be available or will be live in object store. Okay.
Yes.
But once it will complete the TTL, immediately that key value pair will not be deleted. Although it has completed their TTL, but there will be scenario where that key value pair will be inside your object store. Okay. But expiration interval, like based on the expiration interval, one batch will run and it will check how many key value pair has completed their TTL. Okay. And once it will identify out of 1500 has completed their TTL, it will delete those key value pair. After that time, that key value pair will be unavailable. Okay. Let's say you have configured TTL as 5 second and your expiration interval as a 3 second. In first 3 second, that key value pair will be still there. After 5 second, that key value pair has completed their TTL, but till 6 second, that key value pair will be still in object store and you can access those data. In 6 second, when that batch will run second time, it will check there is one key value pair which has completed their 5 second, then it will delete that key value pair and then you will not able to access that data. I hope you are clear with this now.
Understood. Yeah, Ravi, understood. So by this logic, we should always keep this expiration interval greater than TTL?
No, lesser than TTL. It should be lesser than TTL.
Lesser than. So if we are keeping it lesser, so let's say if the object, this TTL is like 5 seconds, and if we are keeping the expiration interval as 3 seconds, then we are hindering the property of TTL, right? Because in 3 seconds it will expire, while the TTL 5 seconds says that the value should be stored for 5 seconds, not for the 3 seconds. But since the expiration interval is 3 seconds, so what it will do is it will try to clean up that value, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just.
So, yeah, I got your question. Let's understand in this way. Okay. So TTL you can think like it's a best time to use.
Mhm.
Okay. And expiration interval you can think about after this we should not use. We must need we must like should not use there. Okay. So TTL doesn't say like that key value pair will be deleted after that, but TTL say after this time, ideally we should remove this key value pair. Okay.
Okay.
Let's try to understand in different way. Let's say you are storing one like OAuth token in your object store. Okay, and that token has expiry of 10 minutes. If you will set the expiration interval 20 minutes, after 10 minutes that OAuth token will be invalid. If you will make any request after 10 minutes using that OAuth token, that every time it will fail, correct?
Correct.
So your expiration interval should be less than your TTL. So you will configure 5 minutes, okay, or maybe like 3 minutes. So in the duration of 3 minutes, it will check 3 times that key value pair is eligible to delete or not, and it will delete it. Okay, so you must need to configure your expiration interval lesser than your TTL,
Okay.
and you need to select the appropriate value so that like that key value pair will not be used in incorrect way.
Okay, understood. That means if we are keeping this expiration interval as less, then it will check, and like it will check if that value should be deleted or not. If it
Yes,
is not supposed to be deleted, then like it will just check and leave it, right?
yes, correct.
Okay, understood. Thanks, Ravi.
Yeah, in the chat there is a question. So object store is only object store V2 is only support in cloud hub only. It's not support in standalone runtime or runtime fabric.
Yeah, that's correct. So first of all, like when you are using the on-premise one, there also you should not use, like you cannot use the object store v2. Okay. Only cloud hub 1.0, even I'm not sure about 2.0 since I haven't used in 2.0. 1.0 support v2, but coming to on-premise or runtime fabric, it doesn't support the object store v2. So if you have any such requirement where in on-premise you want to use, you have clustered environment and you want to use some kind of temporary storage, in that case you need to rely on some third-party caching mechanism, like you can use the Redis cache, something like that. You cannot rely on object store if you are using on-premise.
Don't specify any value. What are the default values?
So default will be 30 days for object store.
Okay, there are two limitations in object store. One is about the expiration interval and other one about the maximum size of key value pair. So one key value pair should be less than 10 MB. Sorry, not should be, must be less than 10 MB. And the maximum expiration interval for any like TTL. Dheeraj, please go on mute. Dheeraj, please go on mute. Praveen, check if you can mute. Praveen, see if you have permission to mute Dheeraj. Yeah, okay. So there are two limitations with object store. One is about the TTL of the object store, that is maximum for 30 days. And another one about the size of each key value pair, that must be less than 10 MB. Okay, so you need to keep this limitation also in mind when you are using the object store.
So anyone have any questions? So how much it cost? How many vehicles can possible to spare, but not using object store? I think it's depend upon the requirement.
Okay, what I know in cloud hub deployment model, it don't need any external vCore. It will use, like if you are using object store v1, it will use the shared memory from your worker. And if you are using object store v2, I don't think you need any kind of separate licensing and separate kind of costing there. It will create like storage outside of the worker, and so far I haven't seen any kind of costing on or licensing things there.
Yeah, there is no costing for object store.
Okay, so this is asking why, like in which scenario size of the key value pair may reach 10 MB. Okay, there can be some scenario like many times we are storing, like if you want to use object store for the pagination purpose. Let's say you are retrieving some data from the database and then you want to return the paginated data to the calling system like front-end application, since you want to make this front-end application more responsive. In that case, there might be possibility your data size may reach 10 MB. Okay, and this is the limitation of like object store site, like you cannot store any key value pair more than 10 MB. If you have any such requirement where data size data size can be more than 10 MB, then you need to think about some external caching mechanism like Redis and all.
Yeah, I think it's good. All the questions were answered. So if anyone want to be a speaker, please let me know. So you can present your ideas as a speaker. Yeah, if you are okay, can you turn on your camera? I will take few screenshots of this section. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, it's done. And we'll share the recordings in the page, in Meetup page. You can access from there. And thanks everyone for joining this section. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so
Yeah,
much.
thanks.